There's a moment when everything shifts, not gradually, not over time, but in an instant. Like flipping a switch in a dark room, suddenly everything becomes visible. If you clicked on this video, if these words are reaching you right now, that switch has already been flipped. Your quantum shift isn't coming. It's here. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for change to happen to them. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right person to walk into their life and transform everything. But what if I told you that the very fact you're hearing this message is proof that your reality is already reorganizing itself around a new frequency? What if the shift you've been seeking has been seeking you? Welcome to Quantum Horison, where we explore the invisible forces that shape reality and the power you have to consciously participate in that shaping. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because we're about to dive deep into territories most people never explore. And trust me, once you understand what's really happening right now, you'll never see your life the same way again. Here's what most people don't realize about transformation. They think it starts with doing something different. They think they need to change their actions, their habits, their routines first. But that's backwards. Real transformation begins in the quantum field of pure potential, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. And right now, as you absorb these words, something fundamental is shifting in that field. Think about it. What brought you here? Was it really just chance that this video appeared in your feed? Was it coincidence that you felt compelled to click? Or is there something deeper at work? Something that recognizes itself in these words? Something that's been waiting for this exact moment? The quantum field responds to observation. Every time you focus your attention, you collapse infinite possibilities into a single reality. But here's the twist that changes everything. The quality of your observation determines the quality of what collapses into form. When you observe from a place of knowing, of certainty, of alignment, you don't just witness reality, you author it. And that's exactly what's happening right now. By being present to these words, by allowing this information to penetrate your awareness, you're not just learning about transformation. You're actively participating in it. Your consciousness is literally rewiring itself as we speak. Let me share something that will probably sound impossible until you feel it for yourself. The version of you that you've always wanted to become already exists, not as some distant dream, not as a goal to achieve someday, but as a living, breathing possibility that's vibrating right here, right now, in this moment. The only thing that's been keeping you from accessing that version is the story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what's possible. But stories can change in an instant. And when they do, everything changes with them. I want you to notice something. As you've been listening to this, have you felt a subtle shift in your energy? Maybe a quickening in your chest, a sense of expansion, a feeling that something familiar is being remembered rather than learned? That's not your imagination. That's recognition. That's your true self acknowledging what it's always known but temporarily forgot. The quantum shift isn't about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the stories of limitation, beneath the beliefs that convinced you that you were separate from the creative force of the universe itself. Now here's where most people get tripped up. They hear concepts like this, and their logical mind immediately jumps in with questions. How is this possible? Where's the proof? What am I supposed to do with this information? But those questions are coming from the old operating system, the one that needs evidence before it believes, the one that thinks change has to be hard, slow, and proven. The quantum shift operates on a different principle entirely. It operates on knowing before seeing. It operates on feeling the truth of something before the mind can explain it. It operates on trust in the intelligence that created galaxies and orchestrates the dance of atoms in your body every single second. And here's something beautiful. You don't have to figure out how this works. You don't have to understand the mechanics. You just have to allow it. Because the intelligence that's orchestrating your shift is far more sophisticated than your thinking mind could ever comprehend. But allowing doesn't mean being passive. It means becoming conscious of what you're allowing. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every story you tell yourself about what's happening in your life, these are all choices. And choices create reality. So, what are you choosing right now? Are you choosing to stay in the old story of limitation? Are you choosing to believe that change is hard and takes time? Are you choosing to wait for external circumstances to give you permission to step into your power? Or are you choosing to recognize that this moment, this very moment, is the portal? That the quantum shift you've been calling in has been calling you back? That everything in your life has been perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this exact point of awareness? I want you to drop a comment below with one word that represents what you're ready to shift away from. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's doubt, maybe it's waiting. Whatever it is, name it. Because naming it is the first step in releasing its hold on you. The thing about quantum shifts is they don't announce themselves with fanfare. They happen quietly, in moments like this, when your guard is down and your heart is open. They happen when you stop trying to force change and start allowing transformation. They happen when you realize that the power you've been seeking outside yourself has been inside you all along. And once you feel that power, once you remember it, everything becomes possible. Not theoretically possible, actually possible. Because you stop operating from the consciousness that created your current reality and start operating from the consciousness that can create any reality. This is why you're here. This is why these words found you. This is why something inside you recognizes the truth of what I'm saying, even if your mind doesn't fully understand it yet. Your quantum shift began the moment you decided you wanted something different. It accelerated when you started seeking answers, and it's completing itself right now as you allow these new frequencies to integrate into your field. But we're just getting started. In the next part of this journey, we're going to explore what happens when you fully embrace this shift. We're going to dive into the specific ways reality begins to reorganize itself when you stop resisting your true nature. We're going to talk about the signs that confirm your transformation is already underway, even if you can't see them yet. Because here's what I know for certain. You didn't find this video by accident. Your quantum shift didn't begin by chance, and the life you're meant to live isn't some distant dream. It's a present possibility waiting for you to step into it fully. So, stay with me. Because everything you've been waiting for has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. The signs are everywhere once you know how to read them. That synchronicity that happened yesterday. The person who said exactly what you needed to hear. The opportunity that appeared out of nowhere. The sudden clarity about what you actually want. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that your field is already shifting. Most people dismiss these moments as random luck. They don't realize they're witnessing the quantum field reorganizing itself in real time. But you're different now. You're starting to see the pattern. You're beginning to understand that reality isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. And this is where things get really interesting. Because once you start recognizing the signs, they multiply. Not because there are more of them, but because you've developed the eyes to see what was always there. It's like learning a new language. Suddenly, you start hearing it everywhere. Your quantum shift operates on multiple levels simultaneously. While your conscious mind is processing these words, your subconscious is already rewiring itself. Old neural pathways that kept you locked in limitation are dissolving. New pathways aligned with possibility are forming. And your body, your beautiful, intelligent body, is recalibrating to match this new internal frequency. You might feel this as a subtle energy shift, a lightness in your chest, a sense of expansion, maybe even a tingling sensation. or a feeling of coming home to yourself. These are not side effects. These are signals that your system is upgrading in real time. But here's what separates those who experience temporary inspiration from those who embody lasting transformation. It's not about the intensity of the shift. It's about your willingness to trust it even when your old reality tries to pull you back. And it will try, because the quantum field doesn't just respond to your new frequency, it also responds to your resistance to that frequency. Every doubt that surfaces, every fear that whispers this is too good to be true, every logical argument about why this can't be real, these are all invitations. Invitations to choose, to decide, to declare who you're becoming in this moment. The old version of you needed proof before believing. The new version of you understands that believing is what creates the proof. The old version waited for permission from external circumstances. The new version gives itself permission and watches circumstances align. The old version thought change was hard work spread over time. The new version knows transformation happens in the space between thoughts, in the pause between heartbeats, in the eternal now, where all possibilities converge. Let me tell you something that might sound radical, but is absolutely true. Time as you've understood it is an illusion, not metaphorically, literally. What you call your past is just a collection of memories stored in your nervous system. What you call your future is just a projection based on those memories. But this moment, right here, right now, this is where your power lives. In this moment, you can choose to collapse any timeline into reality, the one where you're confident, successful, loved, free, abundant. It's not somewhere else waiting for you to arrive. It's here, vibrating at a frequency you can access right now. This is why your quantum shift feels both completely new and deeply familiar. You're not becoming someone different. You're becoming who you've always been when all the layers of conditioning are stripped away. You're remembering your original frequency before the world taught you to dim your light. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you remember who you truly are, the more unique you become. Because authenticity isn't about fitting into someone else's template of how you should be. It's about expressing the completely original frequency that is uniquely yours. Right now, as these words penetrate your awareness, something ancient is awakening. Something that knows how to navigate reality not through force or struggle, but through alignment and flow. Something that understands that the universe isn't indifferent to your dreams. It's actually conspiring to help them unfold. But it requires your participation. Not the kind of participation that's exhausting and effortful, the kind that's joyful and natural. Like a river flowing toward the ocean, you're being invited to move with the current of your own becoming, rather than fighting against it. I want you to pause right here and check in with yourself. How do you feel different than when you started watching this video? What's shifted in your energy, your posture, your breathing? And drop a comment below sharing one word that captures how you feel right now, because your word might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to remember their own power. The quantum shift isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing recognition of who you've always been beneath the stories of limitation. Every moment offers you the opportunity to choose from your expanded self rather than your contracted self, to respond from possibility rather than react from fear, to create from joy rather than struggle from scarcity. And the more you practice this choosing, the more natural it becomes, until one day you realize that the person who started this video and the person you are right now are vibrating on completely different frequencies. The old you was seeking transformation. The new you is living it. This is the quantum shift in action. Not dramatic, not forced. Just a gentle return to what's always been true. You are not separate from the creative intelligence of the universe. You are an expression of it. And expressions don't struggle to be themselves. They simply are. Your reality is about to become very interesting. Because when you stop limiting yourself to what seems logical or reasonable, When you start operating from what feels true and expansive, the impossible becomes inevitable. Doors open where there were only walls. Resources appear when you need them most. People show up who understand your vision and want to support it. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how reality actually works when you align with its fundamental nature, when you stop swimming against the current and start flowing with it, when you remember that you're not a victim of circumstances, but a conscious participant in their creation. But knowing this intellectually isn't enough. You have to feel it in your bones. You have to embody it in your choices. You have to live it in your daily experience. And that's exactly what's beginning to happen right now. Your quantum shift has moved beyond the conceptual level. It's integrating into your cellular structure, your energetic field, your way of being in the world. You're becoming someone who naturally attracts what they desire because they've remembered they're made of the same substance as their desires. The next phase of this transformation is where things get really magical. Because now that the shift has begun, now that you've remembered who you truly are, the universe can finally give you what you've been asking for. Not because you've earned it or deserved it, but because you've finally become a match for it. And that's what we're going to explore next. How to live as this new version of yourself. How to make choices from your expanded awareness. How to navigate a world that might not understand your transformation while staying true to your authentic frequency. Because your quantum shift is just the beginning. What comes next is the real adventure. Your quantum shift isn't just changing you. It's changing how reality itself responds to your presence. And this is where most people stumble, because they expect the old rules to still apply. They expect to have to push, force, manipulate circumstances to get what they want. But that's the old operating system, the one that believed in separation, scarcity, and struggle. The new you operates from a completely different paradigm, one where intention aligns with outcome, not through effort, but through coherence, where what you need appears not because you chased it, but because you became a magnet for it, where synchronicities aren't rare occurrences, but the natural rhythm of your everyday experience. But here's where it gets tricky. Your old identity is going to try to convince you this is all temporary. It's going to whisper that you need to get back to being realistic, practical, responsible. It's going to tell you that this expanded state isn't sustainable, that you should come back down to earth before you get disappointed. Listen to me carefully. That voice isn't wisdom. It's fear disguised as protection. And every time you listen to it, you collapse back into the limited reality you were trying to escape. But every time you choose to trust the expansion instead of the contraction, you anchor yourself deeper into your new frequency. This is why commitment to your shift is everything. Not commitment to an outcome, but commitment to the version of yourself that's emerging. Because that version doesn't need external validation to know it's on the right path. It has an internal guidance system that's more reliable than any external evidence. You're going to start noticing that your old relationships feel different. Some people in your life are going to celebrate your transformation. They're going to see the light in your eyes and want to know what changed, but others might feel threatened by your expansion. They might try to pull you back into old patterns, old conversations, old ways of being together. This isn't because they don't love you. It's because your shift is triggering their own awareness of what's possible for them. And if they're not ready for that awareness, they might unconsciously try to dim your light so they don't have to face their own potential. But you can't shrink to make others comfortable. Not anymore. Because you've tasted what it feels like to be fully yourself. And there's no going back. The quantum field has shown you what's available when you stop playing small, and that vision is now encoded in your DNA. So here's what you do when the old world tries to pull you back. You breathe. You remember who you are. You feel the expansion in your chest, the lightness in your energy, the knowing in your bones. And you choose from that place, every single time. Your quantum shift was never about waiting for the right moment. It was about recognizing that this moment, right now, was always the right moment. You came here seeking confirmation of something you already knew. You found it. Not in my words, but in the recognition that sparked inside you as you heard them. The transformation isn't coming. It's here. It's you. And every choice you make from this expanded awareness sends ripples through the quantum field, creating the reality you've always known was possible. Trust what you feel. Trust what you know. Trust who you're becoming. If this resonated with your soul, subscribe to Quantum Horison and let's continue exploring the infinite together.